and welcome to the 64 doors. Today we're going to open door 63. And we call this archetype the detective. This is somebody who is always seeking answers and truth and that never gets tired of asking questions. We want to look at this archetype from a human design perspective, from a Jinky perspective, and we want to understand how it shows up in somebody's chart or somebody's life, and also how it looks in the transits. So right now we have the sun in gate 63 in Pisces, and we have the earth in Virgo in gate 64. The design part of the cross is gate 5 and gate 35. This makes up the cross, the right angle cross of consciousness. And the energy of this cross is here to ask questions and examine patterns to find a deeper understanding. This is the essence of this cross. I want to show you also a little bit more about the transits. So here you see the Rave Mandala wheel, and it's made up with a normal astrological wheel, 365 days and 12 signs. And around these we have put all the hexagrams of the I Ching, all the gates, all the gene keys. That means that if we take 365 and we divide it by 64 gates, we're going to be in each gate for 5.7 days. So that's where we are right now in gate 63. And the way that we go around the wheel is actually counterclockwise. The same as if you might know that Aries is the first sign, and then we go into Taurus, into Gemini. The same thing, the direction in the wheel is that we go counterclockwise. So after the 63, we go into this, to the 22. And we can also, for example, use genetic matrix in order to really see when we change from one transit to another. So you can see here that on the 1st of March, we go into the 63, we're in the first line, then the second line, the third line, the fourth line, the fifth line, and then in the night until the 7th, we change and we go into from the 6th to the first line. And then the same thing. So you can actually see exactly all the transits, how they are changing from day to day. So this is something, if you want to follow transits, I can advise or recommend. But if we go back to the body graph and we look at the centers, this is better. We see that the 63 comes from the head center and it meets the 4 in the Ajna center. And this is the channel of logic. So the channel of logic is a design of mental ease mixed with doubt. And the doubt comes from the 63rd gate. It's the gate that wants to go to the bottom of things. You could say it's the logical mind, it's the left brain, it's scientific in its way. It really wants to be detailed. It wants to see the pattern. It wants to understand and to have that truth and to be sure about it. And since the truth is basically always kind of shifting and evolving, that's also why it can start to go round and round, doubting and finding, reevaluating and doubting and finding. So it can kind of become that loop in the head center. The head center is a pressure center. So there is a lot of pressure to find an answer. We can look at some more of the keynotes for this archetype. So this is somebody that uses curiosity and inquiry to continuously get closer to the truth of things. And it has an insatiable hunger to find answers. And the internal motivator is that love of inquiry and that inspiration for logic. And it really just loves to see the logic of things. The Achilles heel is that it has that pressure that we were speaking about, the pressure from the head center to find an answer, and that it can be over skeptical, and that it wants to have validity for everything, and it's demanding proof, And then I want to really speak about the biggest challenge, basically. That is when the 63 makes doubt personal. The 63, it's in the collective circuitry. So it's a collective process, basically, where we find truth through inquiry. But when it becomes personal, it goes down into self-doubt. And self-doubt is basically never constructive. It actually makes us anxious. It makes us, feel like we're not good enough. There are so many things that goes down into the shadow when we start to doubt ourselves. So to always see that it's, it's a collective process. Then, let's see. The positive attributes, again, is that it's always ready to solve a problem. It has an ability to reevaluate a conclusion. So, truth is evolving. It's a source of useful solutions. And it also sees things that other people can't, because it has this insatiable, hunger to see things, to see the truth. And repressive, like we were saying, it's self-doubt. It's kind of putting the low frequency inwards and start to doubt yourself and being troubled by that. And the reactive, when we put that shadow outwards, it's to become suspicious of others and always kind of have to, really see things, like see down to the detail of things before it's able to trust. So now I was thinking I wanted to go into the Jinky spectrum. So doubt is the lower frequency. And like I said, the paradoxical power, especially when we make it a personal thing, then it kind of goes round and round. What the way out of that is to basically take that doubt and couple it with curiosity and inquiry, and then suddenly it becomes a process. It becomes a ladder that we can climb up. So the ladder of self-inquiry, that is the higher frequency. And then truth is every step of the way. And that's the thing, it's like it's always evolving, it's always reevaluating to seek, to see more. So it's kind of about farsightedness. That is what truth is about. So we can also, I also like in astrology that one liner, for Pisces: service to spirit as compassionate healer and mystic merger. That's so beautiful. And here we also see this in the I Ching, that it actually is, it feels like it's not only that masculine mind, it actually has another part of it, another thing to it. And that's a little bit explained in the I Ching, where it says, masculine power returns to serve feminine love, cooking the alchemical cauldron of wisdom. So we use that left brain, we use the love of logic, we use the inquiry, but it's really there to serve the feminine, to serve the right brain, to serve creativity, to serve love. So that is when we actually, it's the programming partner, it's the 64 and the 63. So the more feminine is the 64 and the more masculine is the 63, but they always, as programming partner, work together. That's what's so beautiful. And I also like the integral human design way. When we look at it, that's the same channel, the channel of logic. But here you can see that in the lower frequency, when it is suspicious, when it is doubting, it's nagging. It's dissatisfied and it's nagging, and it can't be calm. It's always doubting. It's always suspicious. But then the higher frequency is reason. It's logic. It's reason. It's seeing the meaning of things. So this is a beautiful way for me, I think, to understand it, looking at the integral human design. And I think to end, we can go back and look at some of the questions for this week that you can ask yourself. And that is, what experiences have you had that caused you to doubt yourself? This is when you make the process basically personal. And what happens when you start self-doubting? Become aware this week. When you start doubting, how does it make you feel? Because often anxiousness and unease and agitation comes with that self-doubt, when the head start to ask questions and kind of tell you that no, it's not good enough, or it's not true, or all these things that the mind can do of itself. Or maybe you're actually, instead of turning it inwards, maybe you do feel more suspicious of people around you, and maybe you become a bit nagging, or you put them against the wall. So see the pressure that you might put on others from this doubt that you might feel. And then I feel it's also, a beautiful week of tuning into your inner knowing, and knowing that inner knowing is coupled of, it's not only the logical mind, it's both your heart, it's both your, your experience, it's your intuition, it's your logic, it's all these things, all these faculties, when you use them together. And that is what creates the inner knowing. And that many times, even to get to the truth, it's not only the logical part of ourselves, it's all the parts of ourselves that we want to use together. So this is a week to tap into your inner knowing and see how your logic can serve love, can serve something bigger than just the scientific answers of things. Thank you.